Hey guys, Jane here, and I am reviewing Write, Publish, and Repeat. And I will tell you, this is a reread for me. This is not my first time through, but I found new stuff to note, and I have highlighted the crap out of this book. I cannot even tell you, like, all over the place highlights. So, um, so obviously you know I love it already. Otherwise it wouldn't be those things. Let me back up. Write, Publish, Repeat is a book for authors who are looking to have a multiple book author career. So what that means is if you just want to write one book, if you want to be Harper Lee, write 1, 2 books, and that's it, this isn't for you. If you want to write 100 books, which is what I want to do in my lifetime, I'd like to put out 100 books before I die. This is the book that you want. This book is more for like an advanced reader, and it's more about mindset and the way you look at things than it is about individual go do this, go do that. And I think that's what I love about it. The information in this was originally published, I think, in 2013, and I don't know when it was last updated, but it does have a lot of evergreen information. So information that is absolutely timeless, that is it is the way things are, such as, the more products you have as far as books, the more likely it is that readers will find you, and assuming those books are well written, get other books. A reader will come, read your book, love it, and buy more. And that's kind of, as a reader, I can say this, and obviously I have a booktube channel along with this authortube stuff I do, but that's the idea. As a writer, you want to put out books that people will want to read, not just that one book, but say, oh my gosh, this book is great, I want more. And as a reader, I do that a lot. I love to get books from the same authors I know I love and basically read the crap out of their backlist, and assuming like I love 3 or 4 or 5 books, that is now an author who I love and recommend to everybody. I recently, this month, read Murder on Trinity Place by Victoria Thompson. I'm going to pop that in here for just a second. There is 23 books in this series, and I've read every single one of them because this author keeps writing, and I love her stuff, and I keep buying or borrowing. That one's a library book. But that is the point of this. This is about writing high quality content, putting it out in the world in the right places, and getting people to come in, read the first book, and want to read more. And that is how the philosophy behind this and how you ultimately get a long-term publishing career. Now, this is a nice, thick book. I highly recommend the paperback. It's a little bit on the pricey side. I don't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but I know that when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, do I want that? I'm telling you, you do. This was worth the investment. This was one, and you can get it as a Kindle book. I like my nonfiction in paperback because, again, I want to be writing on the pages. I want to be making notes so that when I revisit it, I can see what I've already looked at and look at what I want more of. This is written by Sean Platt, Johnny B. Truant, and it has some commentary with David Wright. They also have quotes from other authors such as Lexi Maxwell, Hugh Howey, is that right? Joanna Penn for sure. They have interviews with several authors at the back here. Hugh Howey. I was right on his last name. So they have interviews with authors in the back for more information, but as I was saying, this is one of my, if you are looking to have a career as a writer, whether you are indie or traditional or want to be indie or traditional, this is for me like one of those books that should be on every author's shelves. This is one of those, if you have somebody who wants to be an author when they grow up, this book for Christmas. I mean, this is what I would consider the ultimate writer's. It doesn't have every piece of information you could ever want. I don't want to sell it like that, but this is something that is so important and valuable, and I really want to tell all my fellow authors, you need this book. So among the things they talk about is long-term mindset. And that is that writing as a career is something that lasts a long time. So you have to look at that when you're putting out a book and kind of minimize your failures as, okay, that didn't work this time, but as long as you're learning and you're moving forward, a failure is more of a learning experience than a failure. You put out a book, it sells 5 copies. Well, maybe those 5 readers will come back and read the rest of your books, and that's awesome. Maybe when you put out more books, people will see that book, and in another year or so, it'll sell 100 copies. We can't know. And this talks so much about that long-term marketing concept. One quote in here that I thought was amazing is all about how authors need to treat their readership. And I believe they are quoting Lexi Maxwell here, who is an erotica writer that they've worked with. If you wrote a good story, then you've touched that reader in some way, just as you would with a lover. Nurture what's already there to make it better. There is no intimacy when you have sex with a stranger. Don't treat your readers like one-night stands. Make sure that your author-audience relationship has a fair amount of give and take. So, again, this book is about creating relationships with your audience and not just focusing on selling one book. You're not trying to be a one-night stand and sell a person one book that they're kind of going to be like, meh, I have a vague memory that was okay and I had a good time with it and that was that. No, this is basically courtship. You should be courting people with your books. You are not trying to deliver a one-night stand. You're trying to create a lover. That sounds kind of crazy the way I'm saying it, but you know what I mean. Like, you want a long-term relationship with your readers. You want your readers to follow you on social media. You want them to leave reviews. You want them to get on your email list. And this book talks about that. Now, I will say some of the information here I don't necessarily agree with. Most of it I do. I am about 80% on board. So there's about 20% of the stuff in this book that I'm not sure I feel like I'm going to be following, and that's okay. This is a great starting point, and then you can go, okay, but I do want to do this or don't want to do this. One thing that they talk about, and I understand why, is that I don't agree with, is paperbacks. They say that a lot of times it's not in the author's best interest to make a book into a paperback. And what I'm going to say about that is probably they're right as far as you're not going to sell as many paperbacks. However, for me and my marketing strategies, which is going to be involving giving out books, particularly to booktubers, if I'm able to in the future, I want them to have a pretty paperback to hold up. As a booktuber, I know how important that pretty paperback is. When people are doing giveaways on library things and Goodreads, I really want a paperback because I want the book I can hold in my hand and I can take notes in. And if you're not marketing that way, if you're not giving away books on library things and Goodreads, if you're not trying to send books to booktubers, they are probably 100% right that paperbacks may not be an activity you should bother with. It's a lot of hassle. It's hard to learn in some cases, and it's just not something that. One of the things they talk about so much here is the 80-20 principle and focusing your energies on what gives you the most value for what you're doing. And writing a new book is going to always be the most important thing you can do. And marketing, is not always. But for me, I still, even though it is probably a 20% activity, which is what they talk about, something that's not going to get a real high return, for my long-term marketing plans, and particularly bringing people into my funnel, which is a really neat concept in this book too, which I'll get to in just one second, swear I will. But for bringing people into my funnel, I want to use paperbacks because I want the paperbacks when I am being brought into funnels. So a funnel is a marketing strategy that they talk about in this book. And the idea is, picture a funnel, like the actual, like a funnel, like you would put in a car and put oil in, or you would, yeah, I guess that's the best thing. That's what most people use funnels for. As a kid, we used them in our, like to pour stuff into bottles and stuff, but let's assume you're not like me and that you're using funnels to put stuff in cars. So you have a big top of your funnel, and that's where your people are going to start. You want to get as many people into that funnel as possible. Okay, and it's big, it's wide. Now, not everybody's going to go down the funnel. Now, you want them to go down the funnel, but I mean, pretend like it's kind of stopped up. So at the top of your funnel is going to be all the people who you are connecting with. And these people are not buying from you necessarily, or they're buying really inexpensive things like your 99-cent books. They're taking free books for their e-readers. They're taking giveaway books like the ones I'll be hopefully putting on library things in the near future. So many people are coming in, and these people don't really have a relationship with you. This is I passed you on the streets, I might recognize you next time I see you. That's kind of the relationship level at the top layer. Then you have, depending on your funnels, different layers beneath that and different prices that people are willing to pay and how much of what you have they want. So like the next level would be people who are going to buy some of your books. And these are people who they might see, okay, say I've read this book, it was good, it was fine. They have another book out, I'm going to get their book. And that's fine. There's going to be quite a few people like that. For me, in my funnel, is like the next level. These are people who are going to have come into my funnel maybe through my YouTube channel, maybe through the free books that I'm giving out or trying to give out, maybe through my blog, my Goodreads, seeing my free short stories, any way that they come in and they say, okay, I want more. I'm going to go buy a book and see how it is. Okay, that would be like the next level, is people who are willing to buy books. And then like below that for myself, and again, my funnel is fairly small, would be people who would be down the road willing to buy merchandise. I don't have merchandise yet. My funnel is a short little funnel. It's very big up here and then, but they talk about all the different layers your funnel can have. And if you're offering more than just books, or you're offering books at different price levels, that is all steps in your funnel. So if you are offering, a $2.99 ebook and then a $9.99 omnibus, which has like a collection of your ebooks, and the $9.99 omnibus, maybe not everybody who buys the $2.99 book is going to like you enough to give you $9.99 for your omnibus, but that's a different level. The people who are going to buy your t-shirts and your cups and whatever else you have that has sayings from your world. And, I have a couple fan bases that I am totally part of. If I see a shirt with their stuff on it, I buy it, like the Harry Potter stuff. I have Harry Potter shirts at home. Why? Because I love me some Harry Potter. Everybody has their fandoms. So like the lowest level of your funnel, the smallest part, is going to be the hardcore fandom people. The people who, want your merchandise. They don't just want your books. They want your merchandise. They want whatever you have. They want to shout from the rooftops that they are your tribe. This book also talks about the fact that not everybody is your tribe, and that is so important. One of the things I see a lot of writers do with their marketing is it's kind of scattershot. It's everywhere. It's everybody would like my book. No, as a reader, I can tell you, I like very specific things in my books, and your book can be good and it can be not for me. So when I ask you, who's your audience? Well, everybody. No, it's not. Because, not everybody likes the same books. And that doesn't mean your book's bad. It just means maybe it's not for me. For instance, I don't like adventure stories, particularly. I don't like stories that are really, really, really deeply detailed. So not a huge fan of the epic fantasy. Like, I love fantasy worlds and fantasy stories, but I don't need to know about all the governments of your book. I just, I don't like that. So if you're writing that kind of story, even if your story is amazing, it's not for me. I'm a romance writer. If you don't like romance, my books aren't for you, and that's okay. So this is amazing marketing advice for writers, and I think I'm going to be doing a video in the near future about like top 5, top 10 books that I think every writer should have on their shelves. And this is going to be one of them. I did give this book a 5 out of 5 last time I rated it. And while I don't agree necessarily as much with everything in here, because it's been years since I've read it and I'm a little more comfortable in the business and doing what I want to do, it's probably closer to a 4.5 now, because again, I don't think this book is perfect. But man, it is really good, and I'm not going to be changing my Goodreads rating or anything because it's still amazing. And I absolutely think that this is an incredible place to start if you're learning about marketing, if you're learning about creating relationships with your readers, if you're learning about the mentality that you should have if you want an author career, and that you should be looking at your writing if you want to put books, more than one book out, as an author career as a whole, and not just as the next book I'm putting out. I did the math. I was doing a presentation about marketing, and this is a book that I read to do the presentation. But for some, like, just as a refresher, because I knew the information was good, I just wanted to make sure I was remembering it right. But one of the things when we talk about a writer career that I researched is copyright law. Now, this could change and this could be inaccurate, but according to what I read, in the United States, we own the copyright for our stories for our lifetime plus 70 years. Now, I'm 35 and I did the math, and that means that copyright ownership of my books will belong to me and my children and my grandchildren and however many generations we get in there for the next 113 years. So when I'm looking at my writing career, I'm not looking at the book I'm putting out next month. I'm looking at the next 113 years. After the stuff goes out of copyright, I probably won't care so much. I mean, I still might have fans. There's plenty of people who love Jane Austen, and I'm pretty sure she's been gone longer than 113 years. I'm very certain of that. But I want to make sure that when I'm putting out a book, when I have a failure, how big of a drop in the bucket is that for the next 113 years of my writing career? And that is a really great perspective that this book helped me see. So I do very much want to encourage you to read this book. It's amazing. And I am probably going to be doing some marketing videos somewhat inspired by the things they talk about. But these guys are the masters. I am just learning. I'm just taking things that they're doing and working with it. Everyone who is a writer and wants a writer career should have this book on their shelves. Everyone. Okay? One more time. Everyone. This book, buy it. Buy it for the writer in your life. Buy it for yourself. Buy it for your best friend who's a writer. For Christmas. Like, when I get to the point that I am comfortably wealthy, I plan to basically buy this for every writer I know. And I've already bought it for several and passed it on. And my best friend, who is in the early stages of her writing career, I bought her a copy too. Because this book is just really that amazing. And it's one that I think every author should own. Alright guys, now that I have gushed and gushed and gushed about that book, and just so you know, I'm not friends with those people. Like, I follow them on social media. I love them. They don't know who I am. But I'm going to put their link to their channel below, because they do have a YouTube channel as well, a podcast, that they talk about writing related topics. And I think it's amazing. So I'm going to be linking that below. I encourage you to buy their book. And for more content, please like and subscribe to me. And if you have a favorite book on writing that you think I need to read, especially before I make my list of top 5 books every writer should have, drop them below so I can check them out. All right, guys, this has been Jane. Thanks. Bye.